Hello, thank you for staying tuned to my channel where we do our best to simplify the practice of quantity surveying. You're welcome to another episode where we shall be analyzing and building up unit rate for a long span roof covering. Before I proceed, I want to seize this opportunity to request that you support and encourage us by hitting the subscription button so as to enable us to continue to uh, turn out material that is useful in the pursuit of quantity surveying practice and engineering at large. Having said that, uh, there are four things to consider, four things to consider when you're building up unit rate for a long span roof covering. The first is the transport. Second is the cost of the roofing sheet itself. Then third is the cost of either the screw, hook, or nail, and the number of hooks or screw or nail that you need in one square area. Then also you determine the uh, effective coverage of a roofing sheet. These are the four things you needed to consider when building up the unit rate. And for the hook and the roofing effective coverage for a roofing sheet, I'm going to use the illustration, the sketch I have on my screen to illustrate what I mean, to further explain what I mean by effective coverage of a roofing sheet. Say you went to get a roofing sheet from the market and the width of that sheet is say a 1 meter. During the cost of placing the sheet on the roof structure, the effective coverage will reduce. It will reduce in the sense that there's going to be an overlap between two sheets. Where the two sheets join, they have to overlap themselves by one corrugation. And the width of that corrugation will determine what will eventually be the final effective coverage area. Uh, like this first sketch here shows what the roofing sheet is, and the roofing sheet has a gutter and a hip, a gutter and a hip, a gutter and a hip, and it is at the hip that you punch your either nail or hook or screw so as to prevent leakage. Because if you punch your hook or nail or screw on the at the gutter, the tendency for you to have leakage is possible, and also over time, the cap of the hook or the nail will accumulate debris, and over time there will be blockage on those on the gutter area. So it's always it's very wise to screw your sheet on the hip of each of the roofing sheet. Having said that, we'll now go to the next illustration here, where I overlap two roofing sheets at the point of meeting. Let's say you start your roof covering from the right-hand side, and the roof covering is spanning from the tip here up to this end. So during the course of you placing the second roofing sheet, the one of the hip will overlap the last hip of the first roofing sheet. Also, when you get to the third roofing sheet, the last hip, also the third roofing sheet, will overlap the last hip of the second roofing sheet, thereby now reducing this 1 meter to 950. Why is it 950? Because now if you're taking center to center of the roofing sheet from the nail point to the first nail point, rather instead of having a 1 meter, you're going to have, because here is here we're assuming the one of the hip span is 100. So 100 divided by 2 adds to a 900 will give you 950. Also, if you get to this point, you divide the half of this one too will go to, because from this one now, the this span from this nail to this nail to give you 950. Why from this nail also to the other nail again will give you 950. So the effective coverage for this 1 meter roofing sheet is a 950, is a 950 as against the 1 meter that it came from the market. It came from the market. And now if you want to determine what the how many screw per square meter should be. I'm taking an example of, say, the roofing sheet is a 6 meter long, and the effective coverage is a 950. So if you multiply a 6 meter by 950, which is the width, you are having 5.7 as the total square area. Then, like I did told us that for a 1 meter roofing sheet, we have 6 gutter and 7 hips. 6 gutter and 7 hip, and you are expected to put to attach nail on each of the hip so as to prevent the roof during windy periods to either be making noise, or over time the wind can take it off. So because if you say you place one screw here and either skip this point and now place here, you can imagine during windy period you'll be seeing some dangling around this here, and the noise will be so loud that you'll be hearing, either it will be distracting the people living in the building. So it's always very advisable that you place your nail on each of the hip. Having said that, then since we have 7 hips and 6 gutter, and it is in the hips we are placing our screw, nail, or hook. I now, at the point of intersection of the two roof, you are going to place your nail as well. So let's say you are having 6, and the last nail will be shared by the two roofing sheets. So which means you're going to have a 6.5 screw, nail, or hook at each pole line. Because the pole line is at 150 centers. So if I'm having 6.5, 6.5, 6.5, 6.5, 6.5, 6.5, then I now came here, I now multiply 6.5 by 5, because I have 5 pole lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you have 32.5 pieces of hook for 6 meter long by 0.95 wide roofing sheet. So I now divided it by the square area, and I'm having 5. I'm now having 5 by 5.7 per square meter. So automatically I'm rounding up this to 6. So I'm now taking this 6 now. We'll now go to the analysis, to the rate build-up proper. As you can see here, I have a 0.55 thick roofing cover sheet, and it is for 1 square meter is 12,000. And the effective coverage, that is the overlap. The overlap, it is a 50 of 1,000 is a 5%. 50 of 1,000 is a 5%. So you take the overlap as 5% of 12,000, give you 600. Why the general waste, when you are having a complex roof where you have to slice the gutter, slice off some sheeting by the gutter side, by the hip side, and all of that. Say I am considering a 2%. So 2% of 12,000 gives me 240. If you add the cost for the roof, the cost per square meter for the effective coverage area per 1 square meter is 12,840. 12,840. I could have just done it this way. I could have just put a 7% here, and I have my 12,840. But for the purpose of clarity, that is why I expanded this. I added these 2 rules just to treat the overlap and the general waste separately, so for us to better understand. Then the hook definitely will come with a washer, two washer, a steel washer and a felt, and it's a 16 naira per piece. And you're going to have waste because when you are striking it, some could bend, some could fall off from the high roof, and when it gets down, it might mix up with debris that you cannot find. So you have a 2% waste of it. So having a 16 naira, which is the cost, and you have 367 naira 20 kobo for the cost of hook for 1 square meter. Then, of course, transport. Uh, like I said, it is the same. If you are buying a 0.5 mm thick roofing sheet and you're buying a 0.3 mm roofing sheet and their length is 6 meter and the distance is the same, the transporter will charge you the same thing because at this point, it is not the weight of the material now, it is the distance that is charging. If you're buying 50 pieces of 600 of 0.55 and it's going the same distance with a 50 pieces of 0.3 or 0.35, they're going to charge you the same. And offloading and unloading, almost the same thing. So, and the total square meter for a 50 pieces of 6 meter by 50 by 6 meter will give you 300 square meter. If you now divide your cost of 85,000 by 300 square meter, you are going to have a 283 naira 33 kobo per square meter. And that is what you are seeing here. I linked it from that to my table. Then by the time you sum up the total amount for the material, you're having 13,490. Then the cost for labor, usually they will give you price in square meter and some can charge you. And if they are giving you a lot, that is a lump sum. So what you need to do for you to know what the price for a square meter is to divide that lump sum by the total square area on the roof. Then you now know what the cost per square meter is. Then in this case, I'm using a 450 per square meter. If you add it together with the cost of material, you're going to get a 13,940 naira 53 kobo. Like I did said, the only variable in all of this analysis is the cost of the roofing sheet. Say if I have a 0.45, a 0.45 and the cost is say a 10,000. The cost is a 10,000. So if the volume from 45, the cost is a 10,000. The overlap, so long as it's the same 1 meter roofing sheet and the width of the one of the hip is 100. So you're taking a 5%, and you're going to have 11,800 as my cost for a 0.55. So if you're using a 0.3, say a 0.35, a 35, and the cost is 8,000. Because the number of hook will be the same, the cost of transport will be the same. So the only thing that changes is the cost of the roofing material. So you are now having, in this case, you are having a 9,666 naira 53 kobo. So like I did said, the only variable in this analysis is the roof covering. So if I've been able to share or expand your knowledge on how to build up it for a long span aluminum roof covering, please leave a comment on my page. Above all, share to friends and colleagues, and don't forget to subscribe to my page. Thank you and see you next. Bye for now.